I made a really big shift in the way I operate my channel and my online business this year that you probably didn't even notice. So let's talk about what's actually working really well right now when it comes to YouTube, growing your YouTube channel, growing your online business with YouTube. This video is going to be pretty off the cuff. I have notes in front of me, but I'm having a very chaotic week, which I'll explain in just a moment. I am going to stick to my video structure that I shared in a previous video. And I thought it would be fun to kind of just like touch on everything that I'm doing on YouTube that's working, how I'm doing it, why I'm doing it, when it comes to the channel itself and the business and how it's all connected. It's a bit of a mashup. It might be a tad bit chaotic. So I know only my super fans will be watching the whole thing. If you are new here, my name is Meredith Marsh, and I'm here to help you look good, sound good, and feel good on camera so you can build your online business with YouTube. And this week is chaotic because I'm filming this on a Thursday in the middle of a week where my kids are going back to school next week. My niece is getting married this weekend, so I have family in town, and I'm leaving the country on Monday. I'm headed to Stockholm, Sweden to Epidemic Sound's headquarters. They are putting on an event where they're kind of like connecting content creators with music creators to kind of brainstorm the future of music and content and how like AI might be involved. If that sounds vague, it's because I don't know many more details than that, other than they're putting me on a plane and I'm headed over to Europe. So first I want to address a really common question I get a lot, and it happens to be one of my favorite topics, and that is the gear that I'm using and how that is set up. If you're not really into gear and stuff like that, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm still using the Canon M50 Mark II as my main camera. It still has the Sigma Sweet 16, as I like to call it. That's a 16mm lens. And those two together are like a match made in heaven because it's really affordable as far as cameras and lenses go. And it makes a really great webcam, Zoom, Riverside, live streaming, and regular talking head YouTube videos too. It is mounted on my teleprompter, which I am not using right now, but I'm looking at you through the teleprompter glass. And it is connected to my camera using a cam link from Elgato. It plugs into my computer and I can use my camera as a webcam, as a YouTube camera, and it just works without software. Now, I did recently upgrade my computer. I had been using a woefully underpowered M1 Mac Mini for the last couple of years with 8 gigabytes of RAM, and it got by, but like really not. So I just recently upgraded to the Mac Studio, which has 32 gigabytes of RAM. It's a lot speedier, but it doesn't feel that new because like, look at my keyboard. This keyboard is so old and like dingy, and some of the letters are completely worn off. So I'm still using a nearly 10-year-old Apple Thunderbolt display for my monitor. It's really heavy and clunky, but it has a lot of ports in the back that newer monitors just don't come with. But I did put it on its own mount, which was a whole entire nightmare that I don't recommend. But I put it on the mount because I wanted to be able to be mounted a little bit lower. So it's all good, but it's very like, don't touch it because I don't want to have to tweak everything again. For my lighting, I'm using an Elgato key light. I absolutely love this because it's small. It doesn't take up a ton of space, but it does give really good, like I feel like really good soft light. It's like having softbox lights, but I only have the one. I like a nice, warm, soft light setup, and I also don't like to have to set my lights up or move them around, which is why I love the key light, because it's mounted on the Elgato Master Mount. It's clipped to the shelf that's attached to my desk. I also am able to control it with the Elgato Stream Deck, so I can change the brightness or like the color temperature. Behind me, you can see I have these string lights, and back here, these ones are kind of sagging because these have sticky backs, so they can actually stick to the back of furniture or shelves, and I don't have mine sticking. I'm a little bit of a commitment phobe when it comes to these things, and so I was like, I don't want to stick it to anything because I'm not 100% sure that I want it the way that it is, but I really do need to fix it because that just looks bad. These string lights are also made by Elgato, and they're controlled by my Stream Deck as well, so I can change the colors, but usually I just have it on blue or purple. Purple's nice. And as cool as it is to be able to change all these things with the Stream Deck and all that, I never change it. I just put it on one thing and set it and forget it, because anything that adds time to the creation of videos or getting ready for like a Zoom meeting or something with Thriving Creators Society, I don't want to have to mess with that. I just want to like turn my camera on and go. Now, when it comes to my microphone, in this video here, I'm using the Mackie EM99B. It's a XLR microphone that is connected to my Mcaster Studio, also from Mackie. I did a whole video on this, and that's what I'm using right now to connect the microphone to the computer for recording this video. I like this microphone. I haven't done a separate video on it. I probably won't, because I don't really want to become a microphone reviewer. Although, quick side note / rant, if you're thinking about upgrading your microphone or you want to get something better or kind of up level your audio, go and watch review videos of microphones, because that's the only way you're going to learn if it's going to sound the way that you want it to sound. And there aren't very many female voices doing microphone reviews. So I don't necessarily think I want to become one, but at the same time, I wish there were more. So as of right now, this microphone is fine. To me, when I compared it to my Audio-Technica ATR 2100X, they sound exactly the same to me. I might try something new other than this, but for right now, this works fine. The Audio-Technica ATR 2100X works wonderfully, and it's only $80. I think pretty much any reputable brand podcast mic that is a broadcast mic with a cardioid pattern and it's right in front of your face like this is here, it's going to be fine. It's going to be good enough for YouTube. This microphone is mounted to the Elgato Mic Arm LP. The LP stands for low profile. Mine is not really low profile because it's mounted to my shelf, so it's up a little bit higher, but that's just because I have the limitation of having an antique desk that I absolutely love and refuse to get rid of. I think I covered pretty much all of my gear. Oh, one more thing. I have been using this Canon R10 a little bit more lately because if I wanted to get some B-roll, like handheld, or shoot from a different angle or something, I don't want to unmount the M50 Mark II from the teleprompter. And if you watch that video, you'll understand why. And so I have been using this more. This has just been kind of sitting in my desk, not getting much use because the lens that I have for the M50 Mark II being a 16mm lens with, I think it goes down to f1.8 or 1.4. It's like such a good looking image that what I was getting from the kit lens on this was like not that great. So I did upgrade, if you can call it that. I upgraded to the Canon 16mm. It's a prime lens, and it does go to does it say on here? It goes down to f2.8. So that lower f-stop kind of helps give that blurry background look. And so that's the look that I like to go for in my videos. This lens was only about, I think, $250, which is cheap for a lens. And the reason why it's cheap is because it's very noisy when it's changing focus. So it's fine because it works well, you can't really hear it. If I'm using my DJI microphone, which I forgot to tell you about this, my microphone's connected to me. It's not connected to the camera, so it doesn't pick up that noise. It's not that big of a deal. It works fine for what I use it for. It's a good second option setup, but it's really not my go-to because I love the Sweet 16 so much. So I'm not using this DJI mic now because I'm using this Mackie microphone connected to the computer. But this is what I use if I am going to record something where I need to have like a wireless mic, or if I'm going to be moving around, or sometimes I just feel like not having a microphone in my face. But lately, this is just easy, and I love to opt for easy. Now I think I've covered all of the gear that I use on a regular basis. If you have questions about anything I've mentioned so far, let me know in the comments, because I do kind of like creating videos about gear, even though I'm really not a gear review channel. But if you have questions, I would love to answer them. So hit me up in the comments. So let's talk a little bit about the software that I use on an ongoing, regular, like daily driver basis for creating and editing videos for YouTube and otherwise. So right now I am recording into Descript. I've had a little bit of a sort of a love-hate relationship with the Descript software because, and I mentioned this before in another video, but like when it works great, it works really great. And when it doesn't work great, it's really frustrating. Today, it happens to be working great, I hope. We'll find out when I go to edit this. But what I really love and appreciate about it is I can record with my computer into my computer. It's all going into the cloud and it's being transcribed on the fly. And that makes it really easy to edit because there are so few steps between recording and editing. I don't have to offload the footage from my memory card to my computer. I don't really have to wait for anything to upload or download or anything. It's just kind of there. I can edit as I go and get a really good sort of rough draft of my videos as soon as I'm done recording them. And I really appreciate that because again, I always go for easy. Anything that is quick and easy is really my jam. If I was doing something very screen recording heavy, I would use ScreenFlow for that usually, although I have been looking into some other really robust screen recording and editing software lately, because one thing I don't like about ScreenFlow is it's very proprietary, meaning if you record and edit in ScreenFlow, you kind of have to like record and edit in ScreenFlow. It's not easy to like export a project and open it in, say, Premiere Pro or something. And so as much as I like editing screen recording stuff in ScreenFlow, sometimes I don't want to edit the whole entire video. So I've been looking at ways of making screen recording and screen editing easier and faster for myself so that I can share that with you all too. So stay tuned for that. But for right now, ScreenFlow is still my go-to for any screen recording and editing that I do for the most part. Sometimes I will record into Riverside. I'm not totally sure if it's something I want to incorporate into my daily driver content creation, or if I may just use it if I'm doing an interview, like a podcast interview type of a thing, because it is really great for that. But when it comes to like regular normal everyday editing, I am using Premiere Pro. I learned how to edit on Premiere Pro when I first started my channel. That's what I was using. But video editing software is kind of like, to me, it's kind of a fun thing to learn. And so I've used lots of different software over the years without being like 100% proficient in every possible feature. And so I'm kind of having a full circle moment of going back to where I started with Premiere Pro. And I did that because I wanted to try out some of Adobe's AI features. And I just wanted to be able to do a little bit more fancy stuff than what you can just do in Descript. And so I am using Premiere Pro pretty much for every video that I create, unless it's like a full on-screen recording, and then it's ScreenFlow. I plan out and organize all of my video content ideas inside of Notion. I have a YouTube planner that I created that I've been using for myself for the last few years that I have molded and shaped, and it's evolved. And right now I really love the way that I have it set up. It helps me to keep all of my video ideas, the scripts, the thumbnails, everything all in one place, and kind of organize it so I can actually have a plan for when things are going to go out and what else needs to be done. So it's working perfectly for me right now. When I have an idea for a video, I drop it in there, and I know that it's sort of like in a safe space, a safe place where I know I'll be able to find it later. Now, when it comes to coming up with ideas for videos, I know this can sometimes be kind of a big barrier for people, like knowing what am I supposed to post on my YouTube channel, or the things that I'm posting on my channel aren't really doing anything for me. And so I want to share some of the kind of strategic ways that I come up with video content ideas for my channel, because I'm not just throwing up whatever video comes off the top of my head, although this video is just kind of coming off the top of my head. Otherwise, what the strategies I use to come up with my video topics all stem from what I'm seeing inside of my analytics, inside of my metrics. And there's a lot of stuff going on inside of your YouTube analytics, and it's really hard to know what to look for or what it all means. But there are a handful of metrics that I like to call gates, because when you pay attention to just a few of these metrics and actually tweak things based on what those metrics are telling you, that's going to result in more views, more subscribers, and more revenue. And so those are the metrics that I focus on. I did a video about this. I'll link to that down below. It's called Revive Your Slow Growing YouTube Channel. And I'm also doing a whole masterclass on eliminating those roadblocks inside of your analytics so that your channel can grow faster. So I will also link to that masterclass down below this video too. A really common strategy for coming up with content ideas that a lot of people use is just going straight to keyword research or straight to the keyword research tools and letting those things make that decision for you. What I find when I research that way is the tools are only looking at numbers. And when you look at your numbers and actually figure out what is the story these numbers are telling me, what is my channel telling me that it needs from me, what is my audience telling me that it needs from me right now, and you interpret the numbers in like a human way, the results from your content are going to be so much better. Because let me tell you, if I let the keyword tools tell me what to create on my channel, I would be bored out of my mind. And probably you would be too. So I do love keyword research. I do love optimizing titles and descriptions for particular keywords, but I don't love using those tools to make decisions about what to post on my channel. So we'll dive more into that in the masterclass. I can't believe I forgot to mention this when I recorded the video, but something I've been doing lately, and you might have noticed it, is I've been turning my long form YouTube videos into shorts and TikToks and Reels, and I'm doing that using Opus. It's an AI tool you upload, I just post a link to the YouTube video, and I tell it to make some clips that are either less than 30 seconds or between 30 and 60 seconds, and it will go through the whole video and actually piece things together into cohesive little clips. And so I've been trying to get at least 2 out of those. Some videos I have way more than 2 like sort of viable clips that I can post and schedule for later. So what I've been doing is scheduling my shorts, my TikToks, and my Reels to go out on certain days after the long form video is published. That way I don't have to remember to show up and post on all of those platforms because they're all scheduled and ready to go out. Ultimately, for every long form video that I post on YouTube for the last couple of months, I've been creating a total of 16 different pieces of content. The shorts, the reels for Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, blog post, email, the video itself, 2 posts on my YouTube community tab, 2 posts on my Facebook page, and a LinkedIn. Is that 16? I think I got them all. Now, a while ago, YouTube announced YouTube podcasts, and I was really excited about YouTube podcasts because I really thought there was going to be like some really nice, good, cohesive way of integrating a real podcast with an RSS feed and everything into YouTube. But so far that really hasn't happened. But I am planning to launch a whole new podcast, which 3rd time's a charm. I've had 2 other podcasts and I never like to stick with it because editing audio is really boring. Editing video is fun because you get to like watch what you're creating. Editing audio is just like staring at waveforms. I just didn't like doing that. I'm going to do a video podcast. It'll be on YouTube. It'll have an RSS. I don't know what YouTube is doing with the whole podcast RSS thing. I'm not going to wait for them on that. But I do have a podcast coming, which is going to be very specific for you. If you are someone who has an online business and you have a course, program, or otherwise online offer that you want to use YouTube to generate leads and sales for that without having to spend money on ads or without having to do like a new launch every quarter or constant selling. And the reason why I'm really excited about it is because I made a really big shift in the way I operate my channel and my online business this year. You probably didn't even notice. Even if you are a member of Thriving Creator Society or a student inside 30 Days to a Thriving Channel, you probably didn't notice this shift either because it's kind of invisible unless you know what you're looking for. So way back when I first started my channel and my online business, I knew I wanted to build a community around content and eventually someday have a course or a program or something. And so fast forward to 2023, I have 30 Days to a Thriving YouTube channel and I have Thriving Creator Society. So one is a course, one is a membership. And what I got really sick of doing over the last few years is having to constantly promote those programs. If you've ever created any kind of a course or offer, program, or anything, you probably know that just putting it out there, like putting it on your website or telling people that it's there, isn't enough to actually generate revenue. You have to promote it. You have to either talk about it constantly, which gets really old really quickly, or you have to do occasional, like quarterly or even monthly promotions or launches of that program. And I decided at the end of last year, I'm tired of doing that. So I need to figure out a way to use the YouTube algorithm and use what I know about creating courses and programs and actually selling them and have a crossover. It's working really well. So if you're where you have courses, programs, or some type of an online offer, and you're using YouTube to just kind of build your list so that you can launch, I'm really excited about the podcast because I want to show you how you can use YouTube to actually generate leads and sales without launching or between your launches. So I don't want to get too far into it in this video, but just know there's a new video podcast in the works that will be here on my channel. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you hit subscribe. And if you're still watching this video, let me know in the comments because you're a super fan. Honestly, tell me in the comments down there what you want to hear more about or what questions, specific questions you have about anything that I have mentioned. Software, hardware, strategy, setting up your channel to generate sales of your online course. Drop those comments because it'll help me to know what more to create content about as we move into 2024. We are moving into 2024 Oh my gosh. And if you've been doing YouTube for a little while now and you're publishing videos every week and you feel like you're doing all the right stuff, but you're not really growing as fast as you hoped, I want to show you how to eliminate some of the roadblocks that are that tend to hold channels back, even when you're publishing, like you feel like you're doing all the right stuff, but it's not really bringing you more views or more subscribers or more revenue. Sometimes it becomes sort of silly, I guess, to keep pumping out content when those barriers in the metrics are up, so to speak. So if you want to learn a little bit more about what's happening inside of your analytics, I will queue up this video here for you, and I'll also link to that masterclass down in the description below. So I hope to see you there.